If this was your podcast, how would you start it?
So if this was my podcast and I was interviewing you, I would probably be like, hey, weirdos, this is Erika, your girl. I'm interviewing Carlos, who's a beautiful spirit that I immediately was drawn to at a party I met you at over Christmas, which was an amazing time. And I don't remember half of it, but I remember loving your energy the whole night. We kept getting drawn to each other. And then again, Libra, Gemini,
The mix.
compatibility.
Just vibed off well.
Yeah, just vibing. But especially now, like at the age that I'm at, where I don't have time to like waste on people that I don't.
Yeah,
that I'm
that
not
you don't blend
into.
with. Yeah.
But you're a very, I don't want to say a calm spirit, but you again, I'm going to sound like such a hippie, but as I've gotten older and I think about energy, and when I say energy, I really think so much of that has to do with intuition. You can pick up very quickly people that you do and do not want to fuck with.
100%.
And I don't know if part of that is just life experience as well.
I think so, honestly.
Yeah, and with you, you have a good energy. You seem like a very open person, but also not open in a way of desperation. Because there's some people who are open just because they're, you know what I mean? They'll be friends with anything and everything, or
100%.
friends.
Right.
But you seem like an open person, but also an honest person.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you would fuck with me if you didn't want to. You know what I mean? Like, you wouldn't waste your time
Thank
either.
you. 100%. 100%. How do you make a living?
So I make a living in the fashion industry. I've been working as a technical designer for over a decade, and no one knows what the hell that is. Exactly. Like here, the best way I can describe it to make it make sense is, one, it's engineering. Mm-hmm. Two, I am like the ghostwriter for the fashion designers, at least for me. So technical design is a fairly new, how would I describe it? It's a fairly new job in the sense that it hasn't really been around that long. So technical design really started when I started my career. It used to be that the fashion designer worked with a pattern maker to make a garment come to life. Mm-hmm. Technical designers were created or developed as a way to be that middle person. So the fashion designer creates a design, and putting that in air quotes, because I'm going to get canceled hard.
You probably come up with a design, yeah?
I'll just say the amount of Google images that are handed to me from another designer that they want me to knock off, essentially. Or the horrible doodle sketch. You'd be surprised how many designers do not know how to draw.
Interesting.
A lot of people actually in the art space, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. As long as you get your idea out. It's not that fashion designers don't do anything. They do. They are the creative brain.
Right.
And the technical designer, not to say I don't have a creative brain, it's very important to have a creative brain to work in that field.
Right.
But oftentimes the fashion designer will give you a rough sketch, or they'll print a garment that they want to knock off, particularly in fast fashion, which I have a lot of experience in, which all comes down from the runway, by the way. They're just knocking off.
Wow.
I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Devil Wears Prada. I'm sure you have. Yes. On Meryl Streep, that iconic scene where she's talking about that specific color of blue.
Cerulean. Yeah.
Cerulean, and how she's like, and you got this out of like a bargain bin. That's 100% accurate. That's how the fashion industry works. It trickles down. So what I do when the fashion designer gives that to me is I'm the one who actually has to figure out how to make that into a physical product. So I am the engineer, the pattern maker, the spec writer, the person fitting the garment, literally take it from concept to what you then get to buy in stores. And that's what I mean where I say I'm like the ghost writer, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So the fashion designer is the idea person, and then I'm the one who actually brings that idea to life as a well-rounded technical designer. It's a pretty broad term, especially nowadays as it's become a more bigger career. I don't know how else you would describe that. So now you'll see, like, if you go on LinkedIn and type in technical designer, you'll see technical designer for video games, technical designers for software programs. So as before, it was very much geared towards fashion. So I've been at jobs where you're not doing anything, you're just inputting numbers. But I have a very well-rounded career where I could literally, the jacket you're wearing, I can dissect that and remake that per every little stitch. Yeah.
Wow.
Do you have IKEA furniture? I'm sure everyone's
I
built.
don't. But I have built it. I have built it.
Okay, but like you get the pamphlet of how to put the furniture together.
Yes.
All those illustrations.
That's you.
That's me, but with clothing.
Interesting.
And so I create all that essentially.
But better than IKEA, because IKEA is known for like their terrible instructions.
Yes, better than IKEA. They're like, oh, you must not be very good at your job. No, so essentially, because the factory needs that to know how to make the damn garment.
Exactly.
I'm pretty much creating a how-to guide to make the jacket you're wearing.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Is it technical designer or technical engineer?
It's referred to as both, but technical designer is usually what you'll hear. Technical designer, fit engineer, spec writer. Okay. But technical designer is more well-rounded, but it's kind of overused now. Like you said with... Yeah, and we're the most underpaid people. I've had to fight for the career that I have. Fashion designers get paid a lot of money. Again, the creative brain, like we can't do our jobs unless the fashion designer creates the idea, right? It's kind of like what comes first, the chicken or the egg sort of thing, I guess. Who is more valuable? I don't know, but the fashion industry in general is a very cutthroat, tough industry to be in.
Honestly, the entertainment world fits right in there too.
Yes.
You can now segue into that.
Yeah. Also an actor. Yeah. I do all the things that are the most demoralizing. You're always getting told no. It's very combative. But yeah, no, acting has always actually been my passion. Ever since, I remember one of my earliest memories has to do with that. That's like, and I didn't pursue it for a long time because, I mean, it was one of those things that's kind of taught that it's a hobby. Yeah. Like I never realized I could actually do it as a career, and I'm very blessed to be able to do that. And my fashion industry has really supplemented that, where I built enough of a career in that to make enough money now to be like, okay, I can pursue acting. And because you have to dedicate a lot of time to acting.
Yes.
A lot of time. People don't realize that. You're not just showing up, you perform, and then you're done. Like the amount of auditions and just self-promotion you have to do. Like if you're someone like me who really struggles with, because you kind of have to get comfortable with bragging about yourself, branding yourself, promoting yourself, because you have to essentially tell people, hey, I'm the real deal. I'm hot shit.
I can do this.
I can do this
for you. I can do this job. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't feel that in your soul, it can be so insanely uncomfortable.
Yes.
Because you're like, oh my God, I sound like a narcissist. I sound conceited. Oh my God. But you have to. You have to, what they say, fake it till you make it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you need to get roles, basically. And the only way to do that, at least in the system they have now, is to just put it out there that I can do it.
Yeah.
And so
I saw a thing, I don't remember who said it, but they were saying that pretty much anyone who doesn't succeed as an actor is just simply because they quit, because you just have to keep doing. I mean, there's some people who don't. And also, how do you define success as an actor too? Like the majority of jobs out there too don't involve being an A-list celebrity in like the next Marvel. Like I have friends who are very successful actors that no one would recognize them on the street,
Right.
But they are paying. To me, success is paying your bills with your acting career. Then you've made it.
Right.
But I currently pay my bills with my fashion career, but hopefully that will change. But no, one of my earliest memories was me wanting to be an actress. I loved performing. Is that a Gemini thing? Just loving attention?
I wouldn't know.
I thought you'd know the natal charts.
That's what I was saying earlier. I don't practice that language.
No, but I loved old school musicals. The Sound of Music, Gigi, Swing Time,
I have
My
not...
Fair Lady. I love musicals.
I've been wanting to get into them. I've gotten into some. I mean,
it's definitely a vibe. It's not for everyone. I totally understand it. My dad is very he loved musicals, so that's one of my favorite sort of bonding times as a kid with him is we'd watch musicals together because we didn't have TV growing up. My parents were like, TV rots your brain unless it was something they wanted to watch.
Right.
So all the VHS tapes, not to age myself, but of these old musicals, and I was obsessed. And so one of my earliest memories, I want to say I was 6 or something, and I was watching The Sound of Music, and I had watched it 500 times, and my mom was watching it with me, and I was like, I'm gonna be an actress.
Oh.
And my mom goes, no, you're not. And I went, oh, okay. Which goes to show parents, if you shut your kids' dreams down, they really can impact them. So I just was like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna be an actress because my mom said so.
Dang.
So, but I always wanted to do that. But instead I went to fashion school. Which was also weird. So my parents didn't want me to be an actress because they're like, it's really hard. They're like, the success rate is slim to none. But then they allowed me to pursue fashion school.
That is kind of funny.
I'm like, okay, so I went to trade school, but all right. But I think also at least, it is more likely to be with fashion. It's a business. So they're like, this, you can actually have a career with this because if you work at an established company, you'll have a job.
Right.
Versus acting, it's a very isolating career.
Yes.
It's all you by yourself. There's no or a normal job where you have sort of steps. I'll be an intern and then I'll get hired on as an assistant and then promoted to an associate and then promoted to a man. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That typical corporate ladder. Acting does not have that.
And scheduling is difficult because it's not a set schedule where it's
a 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. Acting is
when it comes, when it's there.
Yeah,
you gotta find
and you have
it.
to have a thick skin. You're being, I don't even want to say you're being told no because a lot of times you don't even get a response.
Right.
You submit an audition,
right,
and you don't hear anything, and you're going, did they let me, hate me? Did I not look right? Am I too fat? Am I too thin? Did they end up going with a white person instead of an Asian person?
What can I do to change? I have no idea.
Yeah,
how to improve.
You
Other than...
don't get any feedback. With again a normal job. They'll give you feedback and be like, "Oh, you're too slow. Be faster," or something. Right. Or your work sucks. Improve it. But yeah, with acting, it's so much guesswork. Yeah. So you have to be very disciplined and very determined. You do acting too, right?
Yeah.
I'm
in the I do background acting right now to keep it going and to learn things, but I'm barely getting into working with character and character building and trying to understand how I can be the person that I'm trying to show that I can be or whatever. Because I'm oh, well, I know there's a lot of characters within me I can act because I'm acting all the time. But I'm also how to do something specific. That is always the challenge. And it's how to stay in that world, even though other people can see that you're faking. That you're not necessarily that. Yeah. And that's what I'm practicing right now. So I'm not necessarily out there out on the hustle on trying to apply to every job or every principal job.
Background acting though is a great way to build experience of being on set and understanding what set life is like.
100%. It's helped so much.
Yeah, it's a lot of sitting around, long days. And just you get such a wonderful opportunity to observe.
Exactly.
You observe everything, how everything's being ran. So when you eventually get a role where you're not a background actor, you're a principal or supporting or whatever.
You have an idea of how things function.
And you're already comfortable. It's not going to be jarring to you. People a lot of people shit on background acting, and I'm just like, no, it's experience, babe. Like,
literally.
Yeah, and also I have so many friends who've done background acting where it's launched their careers because they will, like, someone on set will be like, hey, we randomly decided we need someone to do this like one-liner. You get over here. Like, it's I don't know, the film industry, there's so many unspoken rules. I don't know if you like experience this. So I feel like there's so many unspoken rules. Like,
yes,
you're right.
Yeah. I swear, everywhere I go, I always hear people talking about how things work in the industry, and it's always different. And I'm always like, see, there's no book that someone can give me and be like, this is how it works, because everyone's constantly being like, yeah, but did you hear that you can do this, and then you can hop onto this job because of this, and there's like this like keyword or key code that people are using to start talking about this one project. So if you mention that to this person, they can get you in. And there's always like all these little things that people like know, and it only happens through the conversations that go down on set. And so I'm like, this industry is wild.
Yeah, no, it is. And networking is so important. Who you know is so important. I know some very talented people who still are waiting to book a lead role because they don't know the right people, or they've never done background work, and so they get on a set finally and they freeze because it is overwhelming.
It is 100%.
All the equipment, the hustle and bustle, the running around,
eyes on you.
Yeah, you freeze. Yeah. I was just doing an acting workshop with the wonderful casting director Mark Teschner. He has been casting for General Hospital for the last like 30 years. And I had to perform with him in front of a group of, all these peers. Froze immediately. It's crazy. Like, it's when everyone's looking at you and you want to do nothing but perform, it's so easy to get in your own way and get in your own head. 100%. But that's why a lot of like these unspoken rules, and like people say, well, this is what worked for me, so therefore this is Bible. And it's like, everyone's different. We all bring a unique thing. One of the biggest insecurities I used to have as an actor is with auditions, right? And especially in the day of self-taping. So it used to be you go in person. I used to go in person, but it's for very specific roles now. COVID really changed the game in the industry where you're self-taping because they get to see a lot more talent that way. It's easier. They don't have to rent out a studio and block out a whole day and pay a bunch of money. Now you can just, they'll give you the sides, you do a self-tape, you email it to them or whatever, your agent emails it to them. And, oh my God, the ADD brain, it just kicked in. I forgot my entire point of this. Oh, but one of my biggest insecurities was, I want to stand out. I was like, they're seeing like 1,000 submissions. I need to stand out. Like, what can I do to stand out? And having been in the industry for a while now and worked so many various jobs and auditioned for so many different things, and now actually building relationships with different casting directors and people in the industry, it's amazing to see that standing out is the last thing you want to do. And that doesn't make sense. But the reality is, as much as they want you to be a good actor, you organically bring something different to the role because of the way you perceive the world, your life experience. So when you get these sides, which by the way, for an audition, you just get sides, and if you're lucky, you'll get some context to what these sides are. You're getting 2 pages, right? Literally. You have no idea who this character is, so you have to like make it up.
No,
you have to be like, I'm going to create a backstory. Hopefully this backstory is accurate.
Right. Hopefully it matches what they're looking for.
Yeah. And there's like certain things you can do depending on if you're auditioning for something very specific, like General Hospital. You're like, okay, the show's been on for decades. Like, I can get a sense of what they want. But a lot of times you don't even have that, especially for new shows, new films. And I've learned that it's like, don't try to stand out. Bring you. As much as they want to find a good actor, they also want to find somebody who has an opinion, can bring their own perspective. And that's helped me a lot. And I realized, especially with doing these different workshops and being in a wonderful acting class where we might do the exact same scene, every single person does it differently. You're given the exact same lines and we all do it differently because we have different life experience.
Exactly.
and different perspectives. So that's helped a lot. I don't know what the hell my point was with that, but but I think some of the best actors have actual life experience.
Yeah.
And that lived through shit.
And use that life experience. Not just, I think when I started off, and even like now that I'm still trying to like try a different like way of approaching it, I feel like I always have this like feeling of when I start acting, I have this feeling to act, right? To like, I'm pretending to be somebody. But now with my new approach, I'm trying to remember like, well, not necessarily. I am this person. I just need to focus on that person's characteristics. Because in my real life and from day to day, I'm this person that I'm presenting to you right now. But earlier, maybe I was a little bit more like bubbly or something, and then later on I might be a little bit more that way, or it just depends on every little moment on how I want to change how I'm presenting. Not just with you, but when I'm by myself too. And so naturally I'm like, it's hard to just focus on one because I want to be all these different people in my life. And now with my approach, I'm like, yes, but with acting, it's a job. It's not just me like, this is what I do for life. It's a job, and the job here is to focus on that one character, that one person, and just try to use that to guide your performance, your play, the play that you're about to do.
What's some of the best acting advice you've ever gotten?
It was from a book, I believe, that I read. I'm not gonna get too into it, but it was, when you're about to perform, you have to think of, where did you just come from, where are you right now, and where are you going? And because for me, starting was always like where I froze, where I was like, I don't know. And so figuring that out was, where I can read the character's lines and the description and this and that, but once I'm there, how did I get here? That way I know when I'm about to enter, I know where I'm coming from. And when I enter, I know where I'm going. That way I can feel that line, that like phase from like who I was to who I'm about to be.
That's what actually really good advice, because every casting director I've ever spoken to have told me they know pretty much the moment someone comes on screen whether or not they want to move forward with them. And they've always mentioned you need to know where you're coming, and it's because you need to have a thought going into the scene. So that's something I learned watching back some old self-tapes. Sometimes you're like, okay, and scene starting, right? Versus going into, when you have the thought of what it was I doing leading up to this scene, you end up with the scene already with a thought there.
Yes.
And from my understanding of what casting directors have told me, they said that they can pick up on that right away.
Wow.
Whether an actor actually came in with a thought, meaning that they are actually thinking about this character and are already in that zone, versus an actor is going like, okay, I'm starting the scene now, and first line.
That.
You know what I mean? So that's
it is
actually
difficult, though. It's a difficult thing to like practice.
And I will say, like, some auditions are easier than others. Their dialogue and writing is so important. I've done auditions where the dialogue is horrendous. You're like, God, no one speaks this way.
That.
You're like, and it's very hard. And granted, like, I mean, this can go into a whole other territory. People think to be a good actor, you have to be natural. And not to say you don't want to be natural, but it's more than just being natural and reading lines naturally. But I will say, when you get really bad dialogue,
it's difficult.
It's like, you're like, I can be the best actor in the world, and this is always going to come off a little weird because no one speaks this way. Like,
what's your favorite way to be alone?
So what I do alone now is very different than I used to not be able to be alone at all. Truthfully, I had to be with someone all the time. I hated being alone. I'm that person who has constant thoughts going through their brain, and I didn't realize how much I was essentially dissociating. Like, there's this thing, and I don't know if it's also just an American thing, where we really push hustle culture.
Yes.
Where you need to be productive.
It's like capitalist.
All the time. Yeah. So any time that I was not doing something, I'm like, I'm lazy. I need to be doing something. I need to be productive. Like, how am I going to have a good feature if I'm not doing this, the X, Y, and Z, and planning this? And like, And once, as I've gotten older and I'm going through this transitioning period in my life and really getting to know who I am, truly like who I am, what I like about myself, not doing the whole like chameleon thing of sort of switching personalities based on who you're with, which is very easy to do in LA, by the way.
For sure.
Because everyone's from like all over the place. LA is full of transplants and stuff. And I find myself kind of like, I guess, masking in a lot of ways and sort of being that shapeshifter person. So going through this transitioning period in my life, and it really started with COVID. And I'm sure a lot of this happened with a lot of people where the world, you know, turned to shit, and it really made me reevaluate what my priorities were. Yeah. That's when, and also we were forced to be alone because everything was locked down.
Yeah.
And that's where I kind of had like, would you call that like a quarter life crisis, a midlife crisis? I don't know. Where I had to go, who am I when I'm alone? What do I like? Not what my friends like, not what my boss likes, not what my partner likes. What the fuck do I like to do with my time? And I got super into stuff that I used to shit on as it's crazy. Like life is such a full circle moment where there's stuff that my dad was a huge gardener, for example. I grew up in the country, horses, ducks, chickens, pigs. Like people don't realize most of California is not LA and San Francisco. Most of California is country and farms. That's where I grew up. I was the only Asian kid in a town of predominantly white and Hispanic people. So there's things like my dad loved to garden and grow his own food, and I love to do that now. And I'm like, I am such an old little fart. Like
I love that though.
But it's just peace. Like I know that's where my brain is quiet. I'm just focusing on the task at hand. I'm not thinking about, you know, all the crap going on in the world. Like what do I have to do for my next job and to please this person? I get to just focus on nurturing not just my garden, but myself, because a garden, it's so crazy, very much reflects back you. And to help explain that better, a garden requires, you know, you're like seeding the soil. It's very metaphorical to life, I think. You know, you have to tend to the garden in order for vegetables and plants to grow.
You take care of it.
Yeah, you have to take care of it. Just as you have to like take care of yourself.
Exactly.
When I first moved into this house and I started my garden, it was like flourishing. I was like, yes, I'm my boss house, bitch. I was the height of my career, homeowner, newly married. I was like, I'm thriving. I'm amazing. And I gardened, but not in the same way that I do now. It was flourishing. And then the pandemic hit, and like a lot of us were, again, like I already said, we started questioning things and figuring out what my values were.
Yeah.
And felt so lost and isolated because when I finally realized I didn't necessarily like who I was because I didn't know who I was. And my garden completely died.
During that process?
Yeah, it was like barren because I stopped tending to it because I got like severely depressed and my marriage started falling apart. And like the pandemic, like I lost my job. My husband lost his job. No money was coming. Like,
yeah.
And it completely died. And I didn't tend to it for like 2 years. It was just nothing back there. Dirt. Literally, you can see where the plants were. They're like shriveled up and stuff. And then now as I get to learn who I am again, and I've been nurturing my garden again, it's so insanely symbolic.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these things bloom again, and I have flowers back there, and I'm not just growing for the sake of growing food because that's what you do in a garden. I'm like, no, I want fucking flowers. So I have a bunch of poppies back there and wildflowers. It's so colorful.
That.
As I'm getting to like know myself. So that's something I really love to do is garden, and I build stuff. I built the dining bench over there like 2 weeks ago. It was very rewarding. Check it out later. I'm very proud of it.
I will.
But yeah, no, it's just as simple as just allowing myself to not have to do anything. And I know that sounds it might seem so boring to some people, but just going like, yeah, this is what I like. I don't need to be doing something that has nothing to do with my self-worth or value. I don't need to be productive all the time. I think we put so much of our self-worth in like our jobs. If I'm not making X amount of money, I'm a loser and I'm not valuable. If I'm not in a relationship, I'm going to die this alone, like crazy cat lady. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but once you strip that all away, you're like, well, do I really believe that? Or is society telling me that that's what I should believe? And I think a lot of us, especially with me, are so uncomfortable with peace. Wow. That quietness, that stillness. So I'm getting to really embrace that. Wow. Yeah.
What a way to put that. I love that.
That's my TED Talk for today.
I love that.
Yeah, but I hope that all makes sense. It's just like, what I like to do in my alone time is just get to know who the fuck I am. Period.
How do you build relationships?
I used to think that the more friends you have, like I believed in quantity, not quality. So I was that person who'd be friends with everyone. Right. And I got burned a lot doing that. I also, again, came from a very small sort of like hick farm town. So when I moved to LA, I moved to LA 2 weeks after my 18th birthday. And I was very sheltered. And I just got thrown into it. My parents are pretty much like, they dropped me off in LA. I went to fashion school and they're like, bye.
Good luck.
Really not. They're like, you'll figure it out. And I did, but some guidance would have been nice. But how I build relationships, well, we talked about this a little bit. Like now it's very much, how would I put it? I'm an open person. I'm very inclusive. I will not judge someone for how they look. I very much base people for their actions and what they show me. There is an energy thing. I think it's connecting to your intuition and your instincts. I've absolutely met people that I'm like, something's off. And when I was younger, I used to ignore that. I didn't know that was like my gut instinct. Right. And I'd be like, well, they seem fine. Like, I'm just being judgmental. As I've gotten older, I realized the importance of being judgmental, to be honest. Like, people want to treat being judgmental as like a negative. I don't think it is. Like, based on life experience, you should judge people to an extent. Like, we should absolutely judge people who are doing horrible things, right? Like, that's judgment, right? So we only live one life, and who we bring into our life can really impact our trajectory. And
that's where the judgment comes in. Well, you gotta make sure you gotta protect.
Yeah, you have to really protect your peace, and that's where I am now in how I build relationships. So we touched on this a little bit earlier, right? Like, I would not have you here in my home interviewing me if I did not like your vibe, your aura, your energy. Like, if we didn't organically click and you're like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast? I'd be like,
I'm all right.
Yeah, like, I'm good. Like, I don't know. Like, I probably, honestly, as much as I love to say I'm direct, I probably would dance around a little bit. Be like, oh, well, do you want to send me like clips so I can like research it? And then I would hope that you would forget and never did it. And then be like, all right, cool. I don't need to address that now. Right.
Just to make it simpler, honestly.
But
because sometimes people don't like that direct talk, even though I love it.
Well, so that's the thing. That's something I'm actually trying to get back to, because I've used to always be direct, and working, and so the fashion industry is very toxic. The entertainment industry is very toxic. And I think people really try to dim your light, especially when they're threatened or intimidated by you. Yeah. So I was always someone who's very direct, and I'm not gonna lie, some people who are just straight up assholes are like, I'm just direct. I'm like, no, you're an asshole. There's a difference. Like, I'm like, you're a dick. So I was never like that. I definitely have moments where I put my foot in my mouth, but I was always very transparent. I'm still pretty transparent, but I am more self-aware about how I say things. Right. But how I build a relationship,
things are unnecessary to say, and they're just hurtful in some sense. So it's like maybe just let them.
Yeah, or some people really lack self-awareness. I learned,
dude.
Like
I'm not gonna get into that one, but it upsets me sometimes.
But with relationships now, I try to have relationships with intention.
Oh.
And that applies to all relationships. It gets especially applied to romantic relationships, like date with intention.
What kind of intention? What is the intention?
I think most importantly, you need to know who you are.
Okay.
What you want out of life.
You, the person creating the relationship, like as in if you're about
like
to.
Me. So I need to be clear about what I like and I don't like, and not float around, because that's how you really can accidentally invite toxic people into your life. Oh. And this is again something that happens where I think with society, people always, push niceness. Gonna be nice to everyone, be nice, don't judge, like all this, right? It's actually very confusing because they say get what you want, like, but then be nice, especially when it comes to women. Like, we're taught from a very young age to sort of compromise and be nice. Yeah. And that can result into us overlooking potentially very toxic behavior. Like for me, I've been in so many toxic relationships because I would excuse everything. I'm like, well, it's important to have empathy and to have compassion. And the reality is, sometimes the most toxic people can pick up on that and they'll take advantage of it.
Yes.
So that's what I mean by have intentions with your relationships where, what's a good way to put it?
You know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
In a sense?
Like for me now, especially when it comes to dating, the intention doesn't have to be, my intention is to get married. No, my intention is this is the kind of life that I want. I want a life where I am not a homemaker. And that's not a bad thing, by the way. People want to shit on women who want to be stay-at-home moms and raise kids. Mm-hmm. That's not a bad thing at all. Feminism is about the right to choose to do that.
Yes.
It's choice. Yes. Not being forced to do that.
Like
if you want to do that, you're allowed to. But I'm someone who likes my independence. I like to be able to do whatever the fuck I want. I don't like to make dinner. Like, I don't like going to the grocery store. Like, I want to be able to do what I want. So if I was dating, for example, and dating with intention, if I'm on a date with a man and he's telling me that what he wants is to, a good example. I don't want kids. That's not me. I love my niece and nephew. I don't want kids.
You're with you. 100%.
So if I'm on a date with someone and this man is telling me, I really want a stay-at-home wife. I want to have 6 kids. Regardless if I really like this guy, we could be compatible in every other way. Like this guy hits all the boxes, right? Dating with intention or having relationships with intention is going, well, I don't want that for my life. So you are amazing. But my intention is to not have kids. My intention is to not be a homemaker. So you are not the one for me. And that sucks because you're fine as hell. Like, and we have so much other stuff in common or whatever. But dating with intention, having relationships with an intention is being very clear of what you want out of the relationship, what you want for yourself. And I'm using romantic relationships as an example because it's like easier to explain. But the same goes for relationships, right?
Yeah.
And also having different categories for relationships. Not everyone needs to be in your inner circle.
Right.
And if they're not in your inner circle, it doesn't necessarily mean they're bad.
Right.
I have friends that I'm like, they are my friends that I'm going to call for a good time. I'm going to go to the bar with them. I'm going to go to the club with them. If I'm having a shit day and I need to let loose, they're the friends I'm going to call up.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm having a shit day and need to talk to someone about my deep interpersonal feelings, they're not going to be the ones that I call.
Because you're the ones you got.
Yeah, I know they're emotionally unavailable or whatever. I'm going to call my girl, my best friend, who I know I could have those conversations with. So just being very clear about what you are and are not okay with, having the intention of, okay, you are my party friend. You'll never be in my inner circle. And that's not anything against you. Right. I'm just aware. You know what I mean?
I love that way of explaining things. I think that's a natural thing that happens with folks, and sometimes people don't like to identify it because they think it hurts someone's feelings. And sometimes it's I think important when you're building relationships to like bring out like a little bit of clarity on where you see this relationship going or how you see it evolving. It doesn't mean that's what it's going to be forever for sure, but it's nice to talk about that, because then we can be like, oh, we're party friends, cool, we both like that, all right. And if someone didn't, then there's always that option of like, okay, well, it's cool to have you as a memory. But if it is kind of like, well, we're both cool with just being like party friends, that every once in a while we're in a party, then awesome. Yeah, what's wrong with that, you know? Yeah. And we all know we have like those, like there's so many people to have relationships with that, yeah, naturally as humans we like to know where to head or to which person to head to when you need a specific thing or want a specific thing, and where those groups are and whatever. I don't know if this is super confusing or not, but
you touched on something really important when you were saying all that, which is evolving. And friendships can evolve, but it's important to still have intention. So for example, my best friend, there was a period of our friendship that we didn't talk for like 4 years. We used to live together, and then we realized we were not good roommates.
It happens.
But we reconnected, and obviously in those 4 years we had evolved as people individually. And she's my best friend. I'm very close with her. But we got to that point because obviously when we didn't talk for 4 years and we reconnected, it was a superficial friendship at first because, you know, we're feeling each other out because there's been 4 years, and our interaction that we had before, you know, was negative, right? Because our friendship sort of ended. And so going into it with intention, it was like, okay, I intend to get close with this person again because I do miss this person. We had a falling out, but we're different people now. We've matured and stuff like that. And so as we were rebuilding our friendship, we set very clear intentions with each other and expectations of one another as well.
I love that.
And just being honest with one another. So when I first started going through everything that I've been going through in the last year with career change, with, you know, in January, we just had the fires, like I had to evacuate my home, all this other shit. I wanted to be able to talk to her about it. So my intention was, I intend to talk to her about it, but I need to know that she's someone I can talk to about this, but I want us to have that close relationship. And so when I was first talking to her about like my relationship issues, for example, and she knows my husband very well. So it was actually a very scary thing to talk to her about it because I knew that she probably would have some bias versus if I'm talking to you about my husband, you've never met him, you don't know him. So you're probably going to be like, yeah, girl, like, fuck that guy or whatever, right? Because you don't know him.
Exactly.
So talking to
I only have your
yeah, you only have my perspective. Exactly. But with her, knowing him, I knew it felt much more vulnerable.
Yeah, it is.
But the reality is like I want that vulnerability with her. So sometimes with building these relationships, you know, you have to take some risk if you do want to be close. If you intend to be close with someone, vulnerability takes risk. And so I disclosed some stuff with her, just really about how I was feeling. Like one day, it was one of those things where she just was checking in on me, like, hey, how are you doing? And we get that from people all the time, right? Yeah. And how a lot of times they'll just be like, oh, I'm good. Yeah. Even if we're not good. Right. Maybe with those more superficial friendships, like or relationships, we're like, I'm good. But really you're like, well, actually, like the shit day and this happened, you know, right?
Yeah, there's all this, yeah.
And so I remember the very moment that has led to the relationship we have now, where she was like, hey, how are you doing? I haven't talked to you in a while. And I was like, hey, it's actually been really hard. This past month, I've really been struggling mentally. And then, you know, I was like, I could really use someone, I could really talk to someone about this. Like, can you hold space for me to do that? And it was like scary because and that's again, as I go through this transitioning period, I'm having to learn to be vulnerable. You know, so much of us mask as a way to protect ourselves because we're afraid of rejection.
Yep.
you know, and feeling that pain. And thank God she was like, yeah, can I call you? Are you like, I can call you. And she did. And I was just like, ah! Like, you know, crying, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we're so much closer now. And we actually have a thing now, especially. And she's like, you know, she's like, I didn't know you're going through all that. I wish I knew. I would be calling you every day. Like, oh. And we're so much closer now. And we also now have like the system, because sometimes shit comes up too, right? It's like sometimes you're going through stuff and you can't hold space.
Right.
And so we have this thing, we'll text each other like, hey, I had a really hard day. Can you hold space for me? And sometimes we'll have to say no. And we've learned not to take it personal.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So literally,
I was going to ask what happens if someone can't.
But we always also, it's not just a no. It's a not right now. Mm-hmm. Can I call you in an hour? Mm-hmm. Or can I call you tomorrow?
Mm-hmm. Can I come back to this?
Yeah, can I come back? So we always come back to it.
I have a question.
Because that's not a friendship to just say like, no, I can't hold space for you. Fuck off. Like,
I see that. Yeah. And I feel that. There are some times, for example, a topic might be sensitive to me. Like, I'm going to use one as an example, and because I can.
Yeah.
But say, like, if you didn't have a father growing up, right? Like, say I didn't have a father growing up. I'm going to say that because...
Is that a hypothetical or is this a real thing?
It's not hypothetical. My biological father left, and it was not a great experience.
Yeah.
But say that's sensitive to me. It's not. So that's why I'm bringing it up. But say it was. And you maybe start bringing up a topic that involves that, and you really need to talk about this.
Yeah.
What would you do in the case where I was like, I can't. I'm not the person for this one?
I love that question. Because I think so many of us have run into that. Mm-hmm. And our first thing that we'll do in our bodies, we'll get defensive. Mm-hmm. And the reason why is because we immediately feel rejected.
Right.
So if I'm telling you, I don't have a close relationship with my dad, but let's pretend for argument's sake I did. And that was very triggering for you because you don't have a relationship with your father.
Right.
And I'm talking about like, oh, my dad took me to Italy and we went on this Italian, and say like, let's just say I came from a wealthy family. I didn't. And like you came from poverty, for example. Like there's all these little things, right?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, and that could be a triggering point for you.
Right.
Even if I was aware of your situation, that would make me tone deaf. But let's just say for this case scenario, I wasn't aware. Mm-hmm. And I'm just assuming you have a dad around. And I'm like, oh yeah, my dad's great. And I did this and I did that. And you go, hey... first of all, it depends on how you approached it, right? If you're like, shut the fuck up, I don't want to hear about your dad, then of course I'm going to be like, excuse you.
Right, because I'm giving negative and just straight energy towards you. Like, being like, hey, and
but this again, this all comes from defensiveness, right? Yes. That become from you a place of defensiveness. It's like, I can't hear this. I need to protect myself. Mm-hmm. Shut up, Erika. But if you're like, so that's like a whole nother scenario. But if you're like, hey, like, Erika, I know you have a close relationship with your dad. It's really painful for me to hear it, though, because as you know, I don't have a good relationship with mine. I never met him or whatever. Naturally, because I'm human, the first thing that would happen in my body would be that defensive feeling of, I did something wrong.
Yeah.
I did something wrong. Now, what self-awareness allows you to do... It's because I made that noise. My dog is like, it's time to throw down, Mom. I'm here. I'll get him.
I got you.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Good dog. So this is where having self-awareness is so important. And again, having intention is so important. And being clear on those things. So the moment you said that, naturally, there's going to be that reaction of, I was just rejected. I'm sharing this nice moment and he's telling me that I can't do that. Right? Because we all run up subconscious bias.
Or also even like the other example where it's you have something heavy you need to get off of you. And I said, or I'm usually here for you or something. And for this, in this case, I can't be. And Mr. Dog is just getting into
what
it.
Is he?
Pickles.
Oh, he's rubbing.
Yeah.
I know.
That's right. He's a part of the pod.
Oh, yeah.
But in general, it is that moment where it is like you have something to say. And I can't be here for that thing you have to say.
Yeah. So
and immediately, it's a defensive what you.
Yeah. But
what happens?
The example of that. So in that situation, where I'm at now, is I'd be able to recognize that and go, okay. And because I have empathy too. Like, I'm like, so immediately I'm going to recognize that in my body. And I'm going, this isn't about me. Let's take my ego out. Because it's ego that gets us into a defensive place.
Yes.
You know, this is not about me. I can make it about me, being like, well, how rude to shut me down, blah, blah, right? But because my intention is to be closer with you, is to build a good relationship with you. Could you smack my dog?
Hey buddy.
He's now doing the licking thing.
Have that right now.
That they also do at 2 a.m. at the worst times. Like, he looks offended. But because and again, we keep going back to intention, but I really had to harp on it. Yeah. My intention is to be closer with you and to hold space with you. And I want you to be able to be vulnerable with me. The worst thing for me to do is make things about me.
Right.
But like, well, I'm just sharing a moment with my dad. Like, it's not my problem that you don't have a relationship with it. Right. That's ego.
Right.
But if I remove that ego, I'm able to go, he's being vulnerable with me right now. I'm triggering an uncomfortable feeling with him. And I want to be a safe space for this person because I want to be close with this person. That's what I need to do. But I'm only responsible for myself, right? I can't control what you're doing. You can't control what I'm doing.
Right.
You can only control ourselves. So I might come up with a perfect response like, hey, I'm really sorry. I didn't realize sharing that story with my dad impacted you like that. You might still be in your feelings, right? Because you were just triggered, right? So you might be like, no, I got to get out of here. I got to leave. Like, this is too much for me. And I just have to allow that. I have to let you be like, all right. And then that's where, again, I would have to reevaluate relationship. Like, all right, I held space for him, and now he's not holding space for me back.
In that situation, I see where you're heading with this, but I think in that situation, obviously everyone has a right to like not be in a space if they're not comfortable in it. But I totally understand that whole thing where you're like, well, I just gave you this space and you just left me here with what, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's important for if that's what the person needs, all right. But then again, how you say, like, you're building things with an intention now, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to have a relationship with this person that is close and intimate. And to you, that also means being able to allow me in on why this happened. For whatever reason you might have, you know, maybe you don't want this to happen again, or maybe you want to be able to better handle this situation in the future or something, whatever the case may be. So I think that for the person that had to leave, or the person that had to not just not be there, it would be not only appropriate, but if they're trying to build a relationship that similar to the one that you want in this, which is how relationships would work. You should want the same thing.
Reciprocatory?
Yeah, you should both want, or be able to agree on like what you both want or whatever. If that's the case, then I would say that you should be able to come back and be like, and describe or explain or just give more input on what happened. You know, just don't leave that other person on well, that's just what it is. And it can be, but you can at least explain why it has to be that way.
Yeah. So what I would probably do in that case is like, say you're like, I was like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that triggering. And let's just say you had a temper tantrum hissy fit and like left.
I'm like,
I would also need my space because I would, again, I'd be like, what the hell just happened? Right. But that's where I say, like, I have to let you leave. Yeah. And then maybe, again, if this relationship was important to me, and then again, that comes back to intention. I'm like, well, I intend to repair with this person. Then I would follow up.
Right.
And be like, hey, text you the next day, call you the next day. What happened? Like, I wanted to hear you. I was holding space for you. Why did you feel that you needed to leave my house? I want to talk about this with you. Right. But again, it's totally out of my control because I'm also not going to fawn for you, which is could be a very toxic relationship we get to because that's an unbalanced relationship dynamic.
Yes.
If I'm constantly, no, I want to make it right for you. And you're just going like, no. I have to go, well, I don't want a relationship like that where I'm having to fawn over someone.
Yeah.
So I know that I've apologized. I know that I'm holding space and they don't want to receive it.
Right.
So I'm going to give him my space. If he wants to come back, sure. If he doesn't, c'est la vie. You know what I mean?
And I think it's important with a situation like this where, like, say they don't want to get into the details of it. Say I just can't talk about my father that left me, right? Or whatever. Then it's like, I think That'll be up to you, obviously, on
how
you...
I wouldn't push it, honestly. I would take your cues. Mickey, obviously, I don't want to talk about this. But at that point, we wouldn't be talking about that specifically. It'd be more, unless you wanted to.
Right, it's more on like the situation.
Happens.
Yes, because it's something that you were there for. It's something that affected you. Yeah, it did. And so I think it's important to talk about those moments for sure, for everyone to have clarity and also to be understanding like where everyone's at.
Yeah. And having grace for one another too.
Yes.
We all have shit. The thing is, we're human. There's going to be times we lose our shit too. Like, absolutely. We can't expect to have a perfect interaction every single time.
Absolutely.
Like, so with the case with me and my friend, when we can't hold space for each other, so I don't want to get into too much of her personal stuff, but she was having sort of like a meltdown moment. Mm-hmm. And I could not answer. I didn't even know she was calling. Like, my phone was like in another room, so I didn't even know.
Right.
She was calling and calling and calling and calling. And by the time I finally saw it, she's like, hey, I really need to talk to you right now. I really, really need to talk to you right now. And the reason why my phone was in another room, because I was dealing with like something else. Like, I was having my own meltdown going on. And I saw it and I was like, hey, I am so sorry. And I called her because I was like, okay, this could be an actual emergency. Because there's times where... it's like you can't be like, oh, I'm sorry that your house is on fire and you're burning to death, but I need my space.
Right.
That's not what I'm talking about 100%. Here. So I did call her.
There's a difference.
To be like, are you okay? Because I actually care if my friend's alive or dead, right? And then she was like having a meltdown, and I realized, okay, she's just in her feelings right now. I literally do not have the capacity for this right now.
Right.
I told her, like, hey, I'm so sorry. And I let her vent a little bit, and I was like, hey, okay. I do not think I'll be able to help you right now. I'm dealing with like my fire of my own. Mm. Give me an hour. I need an hour. Mm. And of course she was like, fine. Like, she was upset, right? She was like, fine. Like, okay. Yeah. An hour passed. I made sure to call her back because I said I would. Mm-hmm. I was like, okay, I'm sorry. I was dealing with blah, 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 blah. I literally just too overwhelmed to take your shit on what's going on.
Which happens.
Yeah. And then she expressed it. She's like, she's like, I was like having a meltdown and like this, and I know that like we have this thing where we need to hold each other space and blah, blah, blah. She's like, but I just feel like, what the hell, man? And that's where, again, if the relationship's important to you, you have to understand there's going to be conflict. It's how you repair. It's how you resolve. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, hey, I totally get it. I was just I was having my own meltdown. I could not be there for you. I know that's not ideal. Mm-hmm. I'm here for you now. Mm-hmm. Do you want to still talk to me about this? And she was able to take a breather, and then we were able to talk about it. And then I talked about my thing. So I'm very fortunate to have that. But there's going to be times where, you're not going to like... Yeah. Even you have the best intentions and you're going to fuck up too. Like, I'm not the perfect friend. She's not the perfect friend. Yeah. There's shit that, although she's my best friend, there's stuff I still know I can't talk to her about necessarily. Right. And I'm sure there's stuff that she doesn't come to me with. Yeah. But to answer your question, because it's so long-winded, but at the end of the day, building relationships now is... I know the life that I want. I know the future that I want. And I'm such a believer in good community and being able to be my authentic self with people. So being the people in my inner circle are the people who are going to let me be a little weird. Like, I'm a little weird sometimes. I get on these tangents, as you can obviously see. Right. I have special interests. I have a freaking fish tank back there. I wanted to be like a marine biologist when I was a kid. So I want to be able to, I have friends that I can like talk to them about my new aquarium setup. And they're like, yep, that's Erika. She's obsessed with fish. Like, that's my little weird thing, or my garden. And even if they aren't interested in it, they don't shit on it. Right. You know what I mean? It's like building community of people that you can actually
accept you as how you come to us.
Yeah. And like toxic traits and all, and who will also call me out on my shit. But because they love me, not because they're secretly haters. Because I've had friends like that too, where when you're doing, people say you find out who your friends are when you're struggling. I would argue you find out who your friends are when you're doing
when you're thriving. Yeah.
Because the haters, the people who you thought were your friends who were actually secretly jealous, come out. Like, I learned that the hard way too, but that's like a story for a whole other day. But they say like misery loves company, right? Sometimes people want to keep you on their low vibrational level. Yeah. Anyways, I hope that answered your question, but
100%.
Yeah.
What is your passion and or passions?
I feel like we covered it for the most part. My passion right now is getting to know who I am. My passion is building a life that I actually want, not what I think my parents want, not what I think society wants. Finding peace within myself, doing things that make me happy. And I know that sounds so generic and cliche, but the world is such a crazy place right now. We're on a spinning rock flying through the fucking universe. Like, life's too fucking short. And I have lived, oh my God, I'm going to age myself. 3 decades. 3 decades, 3 decades and some more. Years of trying to live for other people, and it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. You know, I want to, when I die, look back at my life and go, I lived a good fucking life the way I wanted to live it.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what I'm passionate about right now, is really getting to know myself and being a little selfish. Not being a cunt.
No.
Just being like, you know, like, that doesn't mean I'm going to treat people like shit. It's just
selfish isn't a negative thing. Yeah, it's the way you do it. It's the way you use it.
Getting rid of the people pleasing and only doing the jobs that feel good to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And of course that comes from a place of privilege as well. Like, you know, the reality is would I be able to have done this and have this perspective 5 years ago even? No. So I do want to say that. It's like, for anyone who can't relate to that, you know, I'm in a privileged place to be able to really get to know myself and be who I want to be.
This is, true.
Yeah. And so I want to acknowledge that. But life is short. And even if you're stuck at this shitty job, things are more in our control than we want to let on. And we need to make sure not to be in that victim mentality. We have a lot more control than we realize. And happiness is number one. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so very last question I got for you.
Yes.
How would you end this podcast?
You know, to be honest, that last question in a lot of ways is a good way to end the podcast, because that's the message I want to get out there for everyone, is figure out what your values are, like your core values, like what makes you you. What do you like about yourself? What do you not like about yourself? And always continue to grow and work on these things without shame, because shame is a cancer. It's like a poison. You can be guilty of things, but don't live in shame. And yeah, I would say that your last question, to be honest, like, is pretty much how I want to end that, of just live for yourself. We always want to make mom and dad proud or whoever proud, but at the end of the day, are you proud with yourself? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't be a shitty person, but live for yourself. God damn it.